An incredible 113 regular 63 position as the Hank Aaron of soccer. The St. Louis Ambush have a rich soccer tradition. They have had 3 days of rest to remember what it was like to win Game 1. It's a tough, demanding sport that has taken its toll. These guys have been playing for 7 months, 56 games, over 3,300 minutes of bone-jarring action. But it's the reason why saying we're the NPSL champions means so much. Today we're on ESPN and the Deuce. From the Cleveland State Convocation Center, it's Game 4. St. Louis against Cleveland.
Hi, everyone. I'm Art Kramer. Now, normally you would hear and see my regular play-by-play partner, Dave Johnson, and you still may. But unfortunately for Dave, the friendly skies weren't so friendly. So here tonight, joining me, play-by-play, no stranger to ESPN Soccer in the Deuce, Mr. Ed Vicinic.
Thanks a lot, Art. It's great to be here today, and it's great to be here on a day when the NPSL championship could be won. Now, I haven't watched all the games like you have, but I have been keeping a close eye on the series. 2 things I know. The Crunch can win it tonight. The other thing is, both of these teams are going to have to contend with injuries, and there you have a look. Zoran Karic, the big injury for the Crunch. St. Louis with 3 guys that are hurting. Steve Maurer, Bill Cowie, and Terry Brown. Terry Brown, we know for sure, is out. Back to Cleveland. It's a big injury for Zoran Karic.
Yeah, watch right there. You see that left ankle buckle over, and initially I thought Zoran was seriously hurt. Then he got up, went over to the bench, and stood around for about 10 or 15 minutes talking to the trainer, Manny Economos, and then finally decided to get the ice on it, and it'll be interesting to see how the Z-Man does here tonight. You see him in the warm-ups. He's got that left ankle heavily taped.
For the St. Louis Ambush, you always want to go into the playoffs with a hot goalkeeper. Well, St. Louis has 2 guys that are pretty hot, but one of them is hurt, and he is Bill Cowie.
Yeah, Bill Cowie has a broken left toe. You see him there warming up, and we still don't know whether it's going to be Cowie or Jeff Robin starting tonight.
So nobody knows. You will find out when we come back who will play and who won't in Game 4.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in this ESPN program.
All right, here's the kickoff. 2-0 St. Louis with the lead. And remember, we told you early on, the team that scores first has won each and every game of the series to this point. George Fernandez and Sean Medved with a little catch in the midfield.
Boy, that was a missile by Doyle.
Oh, you know what? Anytime a bouncing ball comes Doyle's way, here comes Karic on a sharp angle. He missed it narrowly, and Kenny comes out of his own end. But David Doyle tried to play quickly one time to Moser. He pushed off Tim.
Well, a push off. It looked like an elbow to Timmy's head. Here you see Doyle's stats for the playoffs.
He came in with 43 points, 45 tonight, and like we told you, 13 of those points came in Game 1. And he had a highlight film goal on a 3-pointer. Marinero tries to use the boards to get around Kenny. Kenny was in good position. Cheeky little pass. Duran got a little testy in his own end.
But how many players around the league are going to have the confidence to try what Darryl Duran just tried there? Technically one of the best players in the NPSL. Watch again, Darryl, nowhere to really go here. Tries to flip it up there. Flips it over the top.
I think if Cowie didn't have broken toes, he might have skied for that one. Maybe not. Look out, this is dangerous territory for the Crunch to Miller. He missed it wide. Fernandez will track down the rebound. Tough ball there for Miller. Got it in. Not enough angle to get to Karic, and a quick release. Orff smelt it and got out there quickly. And a blue card will be handed to St. Louis, and the Crunch will go to the shootout and the power play. Watch it again.
Well, the way things have gone, that's a tough call. Great read by Otto Orff to cut off the pass, and then the St. Louis forward coming in late.
Michael Moshe.
Taking a second look at it, I guess it was warranted.
You know what? I think had he come in with his leg down, it might not have been a 2-minute penalty, but that leg was up in the midsection of Otto. and the blue card was pulled.
And I'm sure the referee's trying to get control here in the early going. You've got an issue of penalty at some point. Let's watch Hector Marinero, 20 for 28 in the regular season, just 5 of 10 here in the playoffs.
Hector isn't real fancy with these shootouts. If you've been watching, it's one touch and over the right shoulder. Cowie got a piece and it hit the post. Bill Cowie got out, made himself big, and made the stop.
Well, Hector scored on Cowie in Game 3 the same way, and Cowie's reflexes were equal to the task that time. Watch again. Nice save there by Cowie. 5 for 11 now on the shootout for Hector Marinero in the playoffs.
The power play for the Crunch. Marinero, Karich over to Schmetzer. It's blocked by Duran. They've got Mark Thomas and Medved out, killing the penalty for St. Louis. Kuntz, Duran, Kenny, and Kevin Hundal. Oh, we're going to have a face-off. Puck frozen. A drop ball situation will happen here. Bill Cowie, no question about it, has been the story of the night with 2 big saves. Remember, he's playing with broken toes.
Yeah, and in Cleveland on the power play, just 3 for 11, and St. Louis, on the other hand, has killed off all 8 penalties that have been against them.
Reminding you here, if the Crunch score, it's worth 1 point on a power play goal. Here's Schmetzer, he scores!
Well, that'll give Cleveland's power play a little life. As you see, Andy Schmetzer. And I couldn't tell whether Cowie was screened or not, but Schmetzer picks the lower left-hand side.
It looks like he was just a bit. Andy Schmetzer did not play in the NPSL Championship Series last year against Kansas City because he was out with a knee injury. This is big for the Crunch and big for Andy Schmetzer. Schmetzer scores his 13th point of the playoffs and his first 1-point goal.
Yeah, 13 points. No goal bigger than the one he scored in Game 2 to push Cleveland up 16-14 after St. Louis had gained the momentum.
That goal comes at 13:26 of the first quarter. It's a 1-point goal. Sean Medved will get the assist. There you look at Schmetzer's points. The Crunch still trailing at the St. Louis Ambush 2-1. Bill Cowie, determined. I'm sure he's not even feeling those toes right now. The adrenaline just taking over. Traffic in front of the goal. It's not a place for the soft of heart. There you see what Otto Orff is looking at. Marinero drills it, just missed it wide. It got deflected last touch by St. Louis, so the Crunch will go to their corner kick.
And normally you would see Zorin on the ball there taking those shots. Possibly because of that injured left ankle, they're letting Hector shoot that ball from out beyond the 3-point line.
There's a look at Zoran Karich, number 16. He sets up 2-man wall for St. Louis. Marinero perched. Let's see if he chips. No, tried to toe poke, got it back. It's in the penalty area and cleared by John Klein. An easy play at his own yellow line for Otto Orff. Otto will drive it into the attack zone. Karich took it. Spun out of the double team, and the shot blocked by DeVries. Good work by both guys there. Spencer back into Karich. Reeves on him. Quick turnaround shot, and Cowie handled that easily. There you take a look at the first quarter clock. St. Louis holding a 1-point lead, and Doyle coming through the center circle. Fakes the shot. Still shoots it. It's deflected over the glass. Big stop by Otto Orff, and that's going to give St. Louis a set piece.
Big stop by Orff. Great move by Doyle. He only probably had about 1 or 2 inches. Quick release. And you saw Orff come up with the stop.
The thing about David Doyle is he'll shoot from anywhere and at any angle. His body looks awkward a lot, but he gets good wood on the ball.
Yeah, and one of the most accurate shooters in the NPSL.
Here's the restart. Doyle will take it, and Daryl Duran wants a timeout to discuss things, maybe to a 6th attacker, maybe not. We're going to stay right here with 36 seconds left in the first quarter. It's the Ambush with a 2-1 lead over the Crunch. There's Gary Henley. Here's a recap of how this series has gone. Game 1 was just a festival for the St. Louis Ambush, with David Doyle leading the way.
Yeah, the Ambush came out with a quick start. A lot to do with the play of Otto Orff. He was very shaky in goal in the first quarter, and then Doyle with the 13 points.
Game 2 also in St. Louis, and the Cleveland Crunch came back to earn a big one. And look at the scoring in the last 2 quarters.
Yeah, and the best game of the series thus far, Game 2. Real exciting all the way through. And I talked about that Schmetzer goal 5 seconds after Terry Brown had scored.
Game 3 happened Sunday night at the Convocation Center, 29-8, and look at Hector Marinero, 17 points.
Yeah, and a lot like Game 1, but this time Cleveland doing the dominating. Those 21 points, the largest margin of victory in a championship game, breaking that record of 20 set by St. Louis in Game 1.
There's Gary Henley. He has a record of 12-8, as you see, in the NPSL playoffs.
And this man's been coaching a long time in soccer and still looking for that first championship.
All right, we're back to action. The chip, Ollie Moser, he sent it into the seats. And the Crunch will have a goalkeeper.
St. Louis got the play they wanted there, Ed, on Moser's left foot, but Mark just fired it high over the top. That's a play that Hector and Zoran have used throughout this series.
So we're down to the final 30 seconds of the first quarter. It's been a low-scoring quarter by NPSL standards and this series standards, but it hasn't wanted for action. Schmetzer will dump it in. Tanner has a step. He'll have to track it down. Carriage breaking toward goal. Collie handled it. Tough ball for Tommy Tanner to get across. Now Kuntz, they have time. 8 seconds, bouncing ball. Diving stop by Orff. Here's Doyle. He sends it over the crossbar. And Kuntz will send it out as the horn sounds. And the Crunch can wipe their brow. Art, look at Otto Orff here from Kuntz to his right. The big stop, and 1 quarter is history here at the Convocation Center. The St. Louis Ambush has a 2-1 lead over the Cleveland Crunch in Game 4 of the NPSL Championship Series. Convocation Center, this is where the crowd really gets into it, when the boys give them souvenirs. Good look at the crowd, and St. Louis aren't very confident after 1 quarter as we listen to Daryl Durant.
Hey, they got 1 point. They didn't get a goal. Don't worry about it.
Keep your composure. Win the 50-50s, okay?
Hey, look, you guys start posting more up on the arc. That bugs them up a little bit. We can have runs off Johnny Kunze run off the ball more, huh? Because if we have them more in the arc, touch it either side. Spread, they ain't gonna catch it.
Make sense, Art?
Yeah, exactly. Daryl obviously pleased with that first quarter. He just wants his target men to post up a little deeper and then have big Steve Kuntz running off the ball. But play with composure and win the 50-50 balls. Pretty standard stuff.
2 target men in St. Louis's case, Moser and Eck.
Yeah, and we haven't seen Steve Maurer, that 3rd target man. Obviously, Stevie went in the warm-ups, decided he couldn't go at least early on anyhow.
So the Ambush will move right to left in the second quarter. Another big stop by Otto Orff on a Reininger shot, and the Crunch will counter. Here's George Fernandez racing to a ball, shields off Kenny, and the double team snapped them at the yellow line. St. Louis will take control and move out right to left. Here is Ted Eck. As Art told you, he tastes a little turf. Art told you he hasn't scored as he's capable of.
And Cleveland, they're going to score goals. There's no question about that. I think the big key for St. Louis is Cleveland doesn't score in bunches. St. Louis needs to stop the momentum when it happens, not give up 6 and 8 points at a time.
There's a 3-point try by Kenny. He missed wide. Duran back on it. He can't control the ball. Tanner tried to play an early ball. A foul's going to be called against Duran as he ran over Tanner.
And a great foul by Daryl, because had Tommy Tanner been able to get more on that pass, Hector Marinero was waiting downfield alone. You see Daryl run him into the boards. He couldn't get enough on the pass, or that would have been a one-on-one with the goalie.
Those fouls taken by defenders are where you have to take the fouls. If you're beating upfield at midfield, just get in front of them, push them away, slow them down. You're not going to get hurt at that part of the field. Ball played into Carriage. Here's the tangle we've been looking forward to. Carriage and Duran. And the Crunch will slow it a bit. Left-footed Carbonera. to Tanner. He's a little spark plug holding off a Kuntz mark. There's a mismatch in height. Tanner goes about 5'8". Kuntz is up in the 6'4" area. Still bullet his way as Tanner finally got swatted away onto the foot of 10-year veteran Tima. And the Marinero posting. He looks to turn, can't do it against Kenny. Back to Carbonero, left footer. He missed way wide. And Duran will clear it to the midfield. Look out. Eck has a step on Tima. Along the boards, left-footed shot easily handled. Otto plays it into space. That's a tough ball for Tima to handle, and he's ramrodded by Ted Eck.
And Tima wants 2 minutes on Ted Eck. He felt he was run hard by Eck.
We've seen a couple times in this series where Tim Tima has looked like he's been out of control.
Watch this now. Watch Eck come in. Oh, wham.
Art, you know that Tima is a lot more subdued than he was in his earlier years.
But getting a lot of that back here in this year's championship series, which is good to see.
Right. Says he feels like he's 20 years old again.
If he only looked like he was 20 again.
He's 32. Here's Karich on the restart. Looks for an opening. Chip the Tima. Head ball just missed. The rebound cleared by Duran.
And Tima was 22. He used to finish those. Timmy with a great chance at the far post. Just didn't head it past Cowie.
Well, you can see on that particular situation how so much attention is played to Hector Marinero that it opens up things for other players. Here is Kuntz, the big, tall, lanky guy with a right-footed shot. Otto had to go to his left and then plays long. Miller bumped off the ball with a nice move from Kenny. And Chris Kenny.
And Kenny's a strong boy, and him and Duran, two of the strongest defenders in the league. And the great thing about Darryl is he doesn't foul Zoran when Zoran has his back to the goal. That's one of the reasons he's been so successful.
Ball free in the Crunch penalty area. Foul called on Mark Moser as he got tangled up with George Fernandez, the Crunch captain. Captain Crunch, if you'll forgive me. There's a good look at Otto Orr, 30-year-old from Buffalo. Sean Medved out of Washington State. Played along the far boards. Dev Reeves in a sandwich. And the foul is called.
Another face-off.
There's how the first quarter went. David Doyle scored unassisted at 11:44. A two-pointer put the ambush up. And then Andy Schmetzer on the power play at 13-16 from Sean Medved. And that's how we stand, 2-1. Here's Otto with a right foot. It's off the far corner. Boards. Trailing guy Miller over the crossbar. And St. Louis back in the midfield. Nice move by Moser. He's held up by Medved. Watch Miller charge in here.
And you see Thomas set a pick for Miller, and then he comes in with the header.
And just missed. Shot by Doyle is kicked out by Andy Schmetzer. Duran back on it. Oh, he hit a rocket. Oh, boy, was that spanked. And Otto is right there. Had it not been right at him, that was a goal. Andy Schmetzer tried to play ahead for Marinero. Marinero stepped in after Kenny made not the goal. Oh, look out along the boards. Andy Schmetzer just got faced.
And I tell you about Kenny being a strong boy. Watch this shot.
Oh. Actually, I thought he got it more in the shoulder and the head, but
that's not supposed to be 2 minutes. That's supposed to be worth about 10 minutes right there.
Wow. Andy Schmetzer gets right up, back into play. Zoran Karich on the free kick to Schmetzer, right footer, he scores! Andy Schmetzer, second of the game, a two-pointer. The Crunch lead 3-2.
And that's a spot you normally see Hector Marinero at, but for whatever reason, Andy Schmetzer right there, and you watch Cowie's reaction after the goal.
So we're going to take a break. 10:57 to go in the second quarter. The Crunch lead the Ambush 3-2.
We now move ahead in this ESPN program.
Everybody here at at the Convocation Center, ready for the second half. So are the players, and so are we. St. Louis with the ball. We're underway in the second half. There's the owner of the Cleveland Crunch, George Hoffman. He's not given an inch. His daughter, Ashley, to his right, to the television left.
And Ed, what a crowd out there trying to get down from the locker room back up to the booth. Was quite a chore there.
George looking to wrap up the championship. He came so close last year. Here's Zoran Karic as we return to action. He's run off the ball. Nice play by Ted Eck. Good pass to Kuntz. He tried to get fancy coming out of his own end and almost paid for it, but St. Louis will get a free kick. There's Sean Medved.
And speaking of Medved there, he scored 14 points in this championship series. All of those points have come in 4 games out of the whole playoffs. In the other 4 games, he scored nothing at all.
Medved been a workhorse in the midfield for St. Louis, or for Cleveland, that is. Kevin Hundelt. St. Louis dumps it in, far corner. Eck will hold off Schmetzer. Pair of 22s. Got it to Doyle. Doyle tries to move around Carbonera. He was fouled. Doyle was, and St. Louis will have a free kick.
And Glenn doesn't like the call, but it was a good foul because Doyle looked like he had a play on that ball. Just about to stick the right toe on it.
David Doyle has the 2-point goal for St. Louis in this game. It came down on this end of the field. He's got a couple options here. Duran a few steps away. Reiniger is out high, and Hundelt sneaking in. He got it to him and scored! Kevin Hundelt snuck behind the defense and had a sitter. St. Louis is taking a 4-3 lead.
And we saw that same goal scored in game 1 of this series. Doyle on that left side to Hundelt, and St. Louis's MVP, as you said, sneaking back post.
It comes 39 seconds into the third quarter. No chance for Otto Orb. A great ball from David Doyle for Kevin Hundelt, his 4th goal of the playoffs, giving him 14 points.
When Cleveland sets up their wall with 2 men in the wall, that means there's got to be 1 player open, and that time Doyle found Hundelt in the back post.
Well, obviously, if you're Cleveland and marking, you want to mark the guys closest to goal, and that time Cleveland got pushed out a bit, and Hundelt found the lane, and Doyle found Hundelt. There's a tap and goal by Marinero, and St. Louis gets sloppy in front of their own goal. The Crunch back at 5-4.
Yeah, they were sloppy, but don't blame Chris Kenny. He's right there with Marinero, but Marinero just the quicker of the two. Sticks his toe on it. And so Cleveland comes right back after St. Louis has scored to take the lead, to regain the lead themselves.
19 seconds after the Hundelt goal, the Crunch get right back in. And Art, I think it's important to note that until that goal, the dynamic duo had been shut out in this game. Let me take that back. Zoran Karic got an assist on Andy Schmetzer's 2nd goal of the game. Hector Marinero setting records all over the place. Just has another one, his 30th playoff goal. So the Crunch back out front by only a point at 5-4. Remember, they lead in this best-of-5 series 2 games to 1. Should St. Louis win tonight, the series goes back to St. Louis on Saturday. Play in the midfield now. Moving ahead, St. Louis. This is Dev Reeves. He's double-teamed. The Crunch really doesn't tighten the screws, but they make the steal 2-on-1. The dynamic duo against Chris Kenny. Marinero shoots, and a big stop by Bill Cowie.
Big is not the word for that save. As we talked about the importance of St. Louis not letting Cleveland score in bunches, it almost happened there. Watch the toe shot by Marinero. Tremendous reaction by Cowie to keep this game right where it's at.
Corner kick for the Crunch. Zoran tries to toe poke through traffic. It got blocked by the wall, and Kuntz will come racing out of his own end. Look at those long strides. Sliding tackle from Tima, and he's going to be called for a foul. I don't know.
If Tima was going to argue about a call, that one would be the one to do it, but watch this picture-perfect tackle.
Oh, man.
Picture-perfect tackle. That ball hits off Cooch.
Here's David Doyle with the free kick. Probably was called over and back from where they're restarting the ball. Right?
Yeah, but if it was over and back, it has to be a deflection. It's got to be intentionally played back over that yellow line.
But they're starting the ball at the center point of the yellow line. The foul wasn't there. Here's Reiniger in for Moser. He can't catch up. Otto will look long for Marinero. It gets deflected by David Doyle, who is backtracking. And St. Louis will move ahead with Doyle. Doyle tried to play a one into the box that got busted up. Duran volleys ahead. Pima with some fight to get around Moser. And the run safely back into the arms of Otto Orr. Otto in the first half made 13 saves. Bill Cowie made 10. Here's a shot from the left side. And Doyle will play back to Bill Cowie. Art, is the intensity level picking up in this game, or has it stayed the same?
Yeah, and it definitely is. And that was a big goal for Cleveland to come back. And a good job of St. Louis to weather the storm, especially that save by Cowie on Marinero.
Now, Cleveland trying to get this big crowd in their favor, and to score right after that goal by St. Louis was a big key. There's an attempt by John Klein. Now, the other thing, people would look at a 5-4 score and think there wasn't much movement toward goal. A lot of times there's play in the midfield when that happens, but this has been end-to-end. Just been big goalkeeping by Bill Cowie and Otto Orr. And the blocks are up there as well, with St. Louis has 7 and Cleveland has 11 as a team. So there's attacking soccer happening. It's just that the guys called upon to do the stopping have done the stopping. Free kick, Carriage from three-point land. It gets blocked and deflected off to the corner. Dev Reeves on it. Will left-footed ahead. Breakaway for Reiniger. Oh, he can't make the trap. They still go to goal. Reiniger shoots and scores! Reiniger got it through the legs, and St. Louis has gone back ahead 6-5.
Boy, and when you said he couldn't make the trap, I thought that was going to be the end of that play. He takes it off the boards and puts it through Otto's legs.
Otto trying to...
You saw Hector at the bottom of your screen. He had to make the decision. Do I cut off the pass or take the shot?
We're going to take a break. We've got 11:47 to go in the third. St. Louis has gone ahead 6-5.
Now. Constraints. We now move ahead in this ESPN program.
You think this game is tough on the fans and the players as St. Louis holds a 12-9 lead over Cleveland? What's the situation if you own a team? There's Dr. Huatha, the owner of the St. Louis Ambush. He's taking a break between quarters. The other guy on the other side is George Huffman. He can't stand it as he's got to walk around and work off some of this energy. Intensity. And some guys with a tough job tonight, the men in black.
Yeah, you see Terry Campbell. If you thought refereeing professional basketball was hard, a lot of people say basketball is the hardest sport to referee. The last place I'd want to be is down on that floor there tonight, as these guys have their hands full in this championship series.
There you're running through the third quarter scoring, lots of it, as St. Louis scored 10 points and Cleveland scored 6. The 10 points for St. Louis, the most points they've scored in a quarter in this series since they opened up with 12 in game 1. And another note for you statistics freaks, nobody in this series has overcome a third quarter deficit as we have a scrum in the quarter. Zoran Karic and Dev Reeves, Cowie in there. Who else is in on it? Ted Eck coming to help out with Marinero. Well, we saw Reeves and Karic going in.
That's a trade-off St. Louis wouldn't mind having, Reeves for Karic. You know, and Karic is the one that's being the aggressor there. I'm surprised Dev Reeves didn't retaliate. If you're going to have one thrown out for the other, that would be a big advantage for St. Louis to lose Reeves and Karic to lose Cleveland. Excuse me, to lose Karic.
Here's how the play started.
And you saw Tommy Tanner come in there with a shot, and then Klein retaliates, and then Tanner with the elbow.
Zoran, who has been hampered and hassled by Dev Reeves all game, saw that as an opening, and he took advantage of it.
I sense a little frustration on Zoran's part, and he's got to be careful here. He's their main player along with Hector Marinero.
You know, at the beginning of the game, Art, we talked about Duran being on Karich. Well, most of the marking of Karich has gone to Dev Reeves, and he's done a super job.
That's surprising because Daryl told me before the game it'd be himself and Chris Kenny. But as you mentioned, it's been Dev Reeves who's done a great job on Karich here tonight.
If I'm not mistaken, the points that Karich has gotten in this game has come off dead ball situations. I don't think that Reeves...
Major misconduct.
Let's listen in to the rest.
16 white, 17 teal.
Stop! Fuck yourself, you idiot!
2 plus 5.
And that's going to be 7 minutes apiece. Reeves and Karich. 7 minutes. So earliest Zoran would be able to enter the game is at the 7-minute mark. A big loss for the Cleveland Crunch.
And I think you hit it on the head the earliest because he's got to wait for an official timeout or a dead ball spot to get back on the floor. So it could be longer than what we see on the clock. This comes 10 seconds into the fourth quarter.
You know, and Z's got to be smarter than that. In a game that's this magnitude, he's got to keep his head about him. We've seen that earlier in the year on ESPN2. Great trade-off for St. Louis.
Yeah. Art, I think one of the interesting things in sports is a lot of times what makes a player so great is also his Achilles heel. He's a shootout for David Doyle against Otto Orff. It's worth a point, and Doyle cashes in. Another goal for David Doyle, his third of the game, give him 7 points. That's worth 1 point, and the Ambush has taken a 4-point lead at 13-9. Now we'll come down here on the right side, and Hector Marinero will have a shootout goal at Bill Cowie. Watch it. One touch, pick a spot, and he beats Otto to his right.
And real similar to what Hector likes to do, except Doyle shoots him low, whereas Hector likes to push it up over the goalie's shoulder.
Worth 1 point. Marinero against Cowie. Marinero scores. You called it, Art.
And Cowie was waving his finger at Hector after the shot, saying, I knew you were going to do it, I just couldn't stop it.
What a helpless feeling that has to be, knowing that a player is going in a certain area and you still can't react in time to shut it down. So a trade-off there. Each team gets a point. 13-10 is the score. Both of these goals come in the 10-second mark of the fourth quarter.
An equal trade-off on the scoreboard, but certainly not an equal trade-off in the penalty box.
Good point. Two guys in the bench penalty box area. It's Scott Marty for St. Louis and Scott Uterus for the Crunch.
You know, and that's not to take anything away from Dev Reeves, a fine player in his own right, but you're talking about the league MVP, Zoran Karich, 267 points during the regular season.
Play into the St. Louis third. Kenny will play it. The other thing I think we got to look for when they come back is, has this energized Karich or has it energized Reeves? They're each going to get at least 7-minute breaks. Who is the more tired in that situation?
And now you'll see Hector go on the ball in these restarts. It would normally be Zoran, but it's now Hector.
We are playing 4 aside. Each team does have to play shorthanded for the 2-minute penalties. Marinero from the right side fakes the shot. Fakes again, has an opening, tipped wide. That was George Fernandez in front of goal. Great patience.
Yeah, exactly. Great job by Hector to fake twice to get that defense to move, and then he almost spotted Tanner in front.
Crunch will play long. Marinero holds off Duran. Great trap on the ball. Duran came around and whacked him. The rebound by Fernandez. It gets blocked high and wide and then cleared to the midfield. Tanner tries to touch it ahead. Eck in his face. Tanner with a great job holding off Eck and then playing it back. Good job by Tommy Tanner.
I really believe that the next goal in this game is huge. If Cleveland's going to get it, this place is going to be going nuts. St. Louis gets it, it gives them a 5-point lead.
Here's Fernandez in the attack zone. Kenny pushing him back. Tanner fakes the pass, then cut in the big long legs of Eck with the tackle, but he's called for the foul. There's a look at Eck. Eck, 27 years old, 6'1", 175 pounds. He's won a championship with the Colorado Foxes outdoor.
We see Zoran shoot these. Let's take a watch. Hector shooting the ball.
Marinero right into the wall. He has to scramble after the rebound. Got it to Medved with space. Right footer. It's blocked by Kenny. St. Louis's defense has been tremendous as Cowie scoops it up. They've gotten in the shooting lanes, the passing lanes, a lot of blocks, and they've scrambled.
And they've had some great goalkeeping to go along with it.
Here is Duran ahead to a posting Mark Moser. He'll send it back in the midfield. Penny. Howie. Otto Camps. And snags it.
Not a wise ball there by Cowie. Should have kept possession there.
Here is Otto Orff, inching his way out, looking for his 7th win of the playoffs. And that would give the Crunch a championship. Duran fought off Medved, won it, then a handball. Now they're going to call a pushing foul against Kuntz, and the Crunch will have a free kick inside the attack line. 11 seconds left on those minor penalties to Carriage and Reeves. Here's Marinero. He shoots a right footer. It's blocked by George Fernandez in front of goal. I think Cowie would have had it anyways. And Kenny coming along the near boards. Got it to Moser with some room. Holds off Medved, then shot it wide. On the rebound, Kuntz, he volleyed it high and wide. Moser went for the volley. And he scores on the rebound. A hustle goal by Mark Moser, and that might be the huge goal you're talking about as St. Louis takes a 15-10 lead.
Yeah, when you're in the back, you've got to be strong on the ball. That time, Medved let Moser come from behind. Watch him here. Just stick that left foot in, and that ball had eyes.
Sean Medved had stopped momentarily to take a look to see if he had a teammate up the boards. Watch, as he goes to the ball, I think he'll look over his left shoulder. Yes, he did. And when he did, Moser snuck in and buried it.
Great call.
With that goal, we will take a break. 15-10, the St. Louis Ambush lead it with 12:41 to go in the game. To wrap it up, St. Louis has done everything they could to push it to Game 5, and right now it's looking real good for the series to move back to St. Louis. A 7-1 run by the Ambush. The score was 10-9 before they started putting some room between the two sides.
And since Carriage has been in the penalty box, the Crunch has had 3 restarts down in the St. Louis zone with no success.
Marinero takes it down. Dribbles out of a double team, then lost it in a triple team. Whacks Doyle from behind, and the whistle blows. Marinero still sporting a shiner under that left eye.
Courtesy of Mark Moser, with Moser sat on him unintentionally in Game 1.
Kevin Hundal restarts, plays long ball. Carbonero went up strong with Eck, won it away. Hector. Marinero back to Tanner. Tommy Tanner, NC State product. Now Carbonero from Rutgers. Hundal beat Marinero to the ball, and Reiniger on it in the midfield. Wisely plays it back, gains some time and space for the Ambush. Now Kuntz with room to move ahead at the yellow line. And too many men on the floor for St. Louis, I believe. Either that or an illegal substitution, but the whistle had blown, and I think the Crunch was yelling that the Ambush had too many men on the floor. Now those penalties, the minor penalties to Reeves and Carriage, have expired, but they still have to sit for the 5 minutes. There you look at Carriage.
And that too many men penalty, I think you called it correctly. Not a penalty that Daryl Duran's going to be very pleased about at this stage of the game. Everything going St. Louis's way here. But now the Crunch is going to be on the power play.
I think that's a great point, Art, because St. Louis had really taken this game into their own hands. They'd gotten the crowd a bit out of it. They're on a roll, a 7-1 run, and now something like this. We've looked for momentum changes throughout the game, and this might be one that goes into Crunch's favor.
St. Louis's man down had been exceptional before this game, having killed off all 8 penalties against them. But the Crunch scored on their first power play. Schmetzer back early in the first quarter.
And let's point out again that Zoran Carriage not eligible to play in this man-up situation. Medved, right wing. Chipped it. Tanner takes it down. Moving toward goal. Tried to play it in. That got busted up by Hundal. Great ball in the space for Dahl. That's a great move. And a good no call by the officials.
Little acting job on David's part.
Might have been out of gas to finish up that run. So why not? Here's Hector Marinero to Doug Miller along the far boards. Left-footed shot blocked by Durant. It climbs over the glass. That's going to give the Crunch a free kick with 1:21 to go on the too many men on the floor penalty. 1 for 1 on the power play. The Crunch, Andy Schmetzer scored that goal way back in the first quarter at the 13:26 mark. Schmetzer will restart. Marinero, one-timer. He missed high and wide. The rebound, it hops over the shoulder of Miller. And he'll have to scramble to get it back to Orr. About 1:10 left on this Cleveland power play. Marinero at the controls. Tries a right footer. Hundel got a foot out. They play it quickly. Turn around goal. Tom Tanner. And the Crunch has pulled to within 4 at 15-11.
What's the forgotten man on that Carriage Marinero line? Tommy Tanner finishes one there from Medved.
Time of the goal is the 4:24 mark of the fourth quarter. It's a power play goal.
Boy, he doesn't get a lot of credit, Ed, but Tommy Tanner, one of the finest young American players in the game today. Great speed.
And he's a tenacious player. We've seen a couple of times him along the boards with guys that are 5-6 inches taller than him and giving away a good 20-30 pounds sometimes, and he still carries on.
And good to see Mark Thomas back on the field here. First shift since he was injured.
He's wearing a sleeve on his right knee. He went down in the later third of the third quarter. There's a look at Mark, the Turtle, from Quincy College in Quincy, Illinois. Here's Andy Schmetzer, the Crunch coming ahead with numbers if they hurry. Great ball. Miller shot it wide. Andy Schmetzer laid him a sweet ball on a tee, and Miller on a full-out run couldn't put it home. Here's Carbonera. His shot deflected off to the far side. I don't want you to get the impression that that's an easy goal for Doug Miller, but what a ball that Andy Schmetzer gave him.
Oh, perfect ball. All Miller's got to do is make sure he hits the target. But unfortunately for him, he fired it wide. Boy, Thomas giving a little bit back after he got hammered early in the second quarter.
Here's the ball. Through defenders, right on his foot.
And you saw him take that stutter step. So it was a little bit off stride for Miller.
And he had to also see that ball through traffic. Play in the midfield. Fernandez 1 and 3 on 2 if he hurries. Great recovery run by Doyle. Play carries on, and Cowie.
And now we're going to get a
2-minute penalty.
2-minute penalty on St. Louis. I'm not sure whether he called the first one or the second one. The first one I definitely thought would have been a delayed 2. Now watch the initial right there. You see, that should be a delayed 2. But I'm not sure he calls that.
Marinero will go at it again. He is 1 for 2 on the shootout. Let's see which area he picks to deposit this one. Cowie has won one battle, Marinero the other. There's a look at Hector Marinero. One touch, he comes ahead, shoots, and Cowie got his left hand on it. The Crunch don't get the 1 point there. And now they'll go to the power play again, of which they are 2 of 2.
And interesting, Cowie laid back a little bit on that one instead of charging out so quickly. Here you see his backup tonight, Jeff Robin, coming out, saying nice save. Now watch Cowie doesn't charge as hard as he has and kind of lays back, gives himself a little bit more room.
It's really a guessing game between those two guys after they've seen one another for so long. Which way is he going to go? He comes with a curve or the fastball. Interesting mental battle. Now the Crunch on the power play again. Marinero's long ranger is blocked up. Andy Schmetzer had to scramble to gain control of that, and then a handball called against Doug Miller. We've got 8:56 to play in this game. Regulation time, that is. 1:44 to go on the penalty to St. Louis.
And you saw big Steve Kuntz come off. Offensively, they bring Ted Eck on the floor. And now, with the foul to Eck will run back off the field, and Kuntz will come on to play that defensive work.
There's a lot of offensive, defensive switching going on in this game throughout. Here's Marinero ahead. Medved right wing. He one-timed it. Got blocked. Crunch will regroup without a war. Once again, this is a best-of-5 series, and we're playing in Game 4. Crunch lead the series 2-1. Tanner behind the defense. He is tracked down by Kenny. Now Medved coming ahead. He shot, and Kenny blocked it. St. Louis got away with one there. Hundelt can't keep the ball from going out.
I thought Hundelt was going to try to reach out and hit that with his hands and save it. Lucky he didn't. That could have been 2 minutes on him.
You know, something I noticed, the goal that Tanner scored, the crowd reaction was good, but it wasn't wild. And I might be getting the sense that Cleveland really has to do a little more to get this crowd back home. Here is Tanner. Played the Marinero on a run toward goal. St. Louis neatly gets it out of trouble momentarily.
Well, they're down 4. If they can get it to within 2, I think you'll hear this place really rock.
Yeah. Here's Andy Schmetzer, 2 goals tonight. Now to Mark Thomas, played in. The give and go doesn't work, and Mark Thomas is dragging that right leg. Reminding you that the Crunch would like to wrap it up here tonight. They don't want to have to get back on a plane and play in a bigger field in St. Louis where the ambush has done well. If they do go back, we will be back as well on ESPN. Game 5 from the St. Louis Arena, 1 o'clock Eastern time.
And here comes the Z-Man back on the field for this restart. Their penalties have expired.
You heard the roar. Marinero left it for Carriage. Medved. Zorin.
Zorin's first touch, not a very good one.
Here is Carriage across to Tanner. Back to Z. At the yellow line. His shot missed. I wonder how much that ankle tightened up while he was off for that 7-minute span.
That's a good point. He sat in there for a long time.
Here's Carriage, long-range right footer. He missed. Doyle is back on the floor. The penalty is over. So now any goal scored inside the yellow line is worth 2 points, and not 1 for the Crunch. Otto plays long along the near boards. That's cut off by Chris Kenny. Tanner broke it up, and he was dragged down. St. Louis lucky another blue card wasn't pulled. Under 7 minutes to play. It's a 4-point lead for the St. Louis ambush. Chris Kenny said, "You're not going anywhere, Tommy."
Here we go on the restart.
Kind of a 2.5-man wall. There's openings in that wall.
Look at Doyle's legs. He likes to play it through that guy's legs a lot.
Carriage, Medved, the volley. It's over the crossbar. Carriage takes it back. He's marked tightly by Kenny through the legs. Goal!
Zorin saw what I saw in the restart. The legs open, and there it is.
Just a deflection in front of goal. Marinero with the goal. Hector now with 4 goals tonight. 3 2-pointers and 1 1-pointer.
You know, I'm not naive enough to think that Zorin didn't see that opening on the restart, because he sees everything on those. And then wisely on the next play, puts it through the legs.
There's the score. The Crunch within 2. They're coming again. Here is Tanner, his one-timer block. Carriage sizing up a volley. He'll make the fake. Looks for an opening off the glass. It bounces around, and Klein, I believe, clears it to the midfield. Tedek got it. He's not getting help right now, but finds it in Hundelt. And a 2-on-1. Nobody's got that mark. Across goal just too far for Klein as the Crunch got caught up field a bit.
And it's going to be a great test of St. Louis' composure here down the stretch.
Here's Marinero holding off Reeves. Holding call against Dev Reeves. And the Crunch in a dangerous spot. The crowd is on their feet at the Convocation Center.
And I can tell you, Ed, when you're standing in that wall, it's sheer panic. Do we got this covered? Do we got that covered?
Carriage to Marinero. He scores! to play in the fourth quarter. There's the St. Louis owner, and he can't be happy with this run the Crunch is on. A 5-0 run. Hector Marinero has scored 2 goals in a 22-second span at 8:13 and at 8:55, both assisted by Carriage. He's got 5 goals this evening, a total of 9 points. Here comes Miller. His shot blocked, and why the Crunch is not letting up. 6 assists for Zoran Carriage.
And that's a new playoff record.
Art, I think one thing St. Louis has to remember right now, they're in a tie game. They really don't have to panic. They need to get the ship back together.
Yeah, we talked to them, not allowing them to score goals in bunches. And they've done that here in this last 3 minutes, gave away 5 points.
Crunch clear to the midfield. Look out. A bad change by St. Louis. Mark Thomas coming ahead. Played to Miller. Broken up neatly by Hundell. The ambush got off the bench just in time. There's Hector Marinero. 5 goals, 9 points tonight. That coming off a 17-point effort in Game 3. Marinero in the playoffs with 72 points. That's in 10 games. There's Doyle. Oh, he doesn't miss those too often. A break for the Crunch. We're going to catch a breath. 4:51 to go in the game. The Crunch and the ambush are tied at 15. Don't you dare go away. Sir, hurting on the Crunch bench. We'll have to see what the matter there. Maybe a rib injury. But play carries on. Mark Thomas made it back. Will Andy Spencer. He's standing up on the bench now as the Crunch attack. Into Carriage. He spins. Good no call by the officials. Carriage had a step but fell down. Marinero played into space. Reeves held him off. How he scoops it up. We've talked in this series how the Crunch is a team of veterans with a few rookies. And St. Louis the other way around. Let's see where the composure goes. Klein. Tackled by Tanner. Fernandez gets it ahead. Crunch threw it ahead. Played into Carriage. He tries to lead for Marinero. Hector almost pilfered one behind John Klein.
And that rest in the penalty box really seemed to lift the Z-Man up as he's come on with a vengeance since that penalty.
In front of goal, George Fernandez almost deflected that past his goalkeeper. Long ball for Mark Thomas. Thomas one times it high, and that's going to go along the far boards. Reiniger with some nice skill to try and get that underway, but Doug Miller wouldn't let up out of the pickle. Now Tima, he hasn't seen a shift in a while, Tima, and he plays it into the seats. That's going to stop the clock with 3:22 to go. That's a lot of time in this game.
It's easier said than done, but St. Louis needs to slow the game down a little bit, keep possession of the ball. They're getting into too much of a trap meet here in the fourth.
Andy Spencer back out on the floor, so apparently that injury was not that serious. You see the clock. That's what's left in the fourth quarter. We're tied at 15. Crunch defense with some strong tackles. Here's George Fernandez leading the rush. Plays up ahead. Marinero! Big stop by Cowie!
What a ball by Fernandez.
The Crunch come again. Carriage got whacked by Eck. No whistle. Wow. And the ball comes back. This time the Crunch played the ball until there was or wasn't a whistle, and there wasn't. Boy, Ted Eck whacked Zoran across the legs. Here's Andy Spencer. Played into Tanner. Tanner, top right corner of the box. Loose ball. Reeves after it. So is Carriage. Carbonero makes the shot. Good help by Reiniger. Spencer. Three-pointer. It's out of play.
And watch this ball by Fernandez. Great pass. And then Marinero right on the doorstep.
Wow. Wow. All he did was deflect it, and Cowie was in perfect position. Remember, Bill Cowie was the player of the game in the first half. It's a 15-15 game now. Under 2 minutes. Klein. Tried to get it to Hundell. Crunch breaking up. They've got numbers. Tanner with Reininger. Klein chasing him. Tripped up by Doyle. And that'll be a foul in the midfield.
And the Crunch wants 2 minutes, but at this part of the game, a good no call on the 2-minute penalty.
I agree. Zoran Karic, 6 assists in the game tonight. Should this game be tied after regulation, we go to sudden death overtime. Marinaro three-pointer. Cowie in traffic. The ball free. Scoops it up. I thought I heard a whistle. Something happened there. 5 assists for Zoran this evening.
Against me? When you heard Darryl say against me, now he's going to call obstruction on Hector down there before the throw. Terry Campbell ruled that Hector was obstructing Cowie on the throw. Darryl a little panicked there, thought it was going to be against him.
Here's a note. Only 3 games in NPSL history in the finals have gone to overtime. And that's in 10 years of finals. Here's Marinaro. And the ambush get it back with 1:10. They play to Laposha. Otto read it well.
And you would think with the Crunch's experience that this would favor them down the stretch.
Here comes Karic on the race. Reeves beats him to the ball. Played it along the boards. Can't get it past Tanner into Karic. Broken up neatly by Reeves. And then Fernandez tracked it down at the half line. Here's Fernandez into Karic. Nobody was making the run off of him. Or he didn't get it where he wanted it. Now Doyle on a race. Tries to split 2. Taken down. Play goes on. Doyle looking for a call. But like Artis pointed out a few times, here comes Marinaro spinning off a Mark Tima in front of goal. It's broken up. And the play to the midfield. You see the clock.
And Tima had beaten the St. Louis defense down the field, but Zoran didn't see him.
Otto is out of his goal. This is trouble if St. Louis gains possession. That was along the near boards, and we'll see what the call was.
And Otto wants 2 minutes now as he felt he was flattened into the boards.
10 seconds. Karic obstructed by Dev Reeves.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Cleveland get a TO here. Nope.
There's a long ball. It almost skipped on by Cowie. I think he thought Rourke was going to play it. This is going to get the Crunch a free kick with 3 seconds.
A bad play by the rookie to clear that ball out of bounds. And Cleveland's going to take a timeout and set up a play here.
Well, we're going to take a timeout. Timeout for the Cleveland Crunch. We're going to take a timeout as well. 3 seconds to go in regulation. The Crunch and the ambush tied at 15. The Crunch with a set piece. Tie game. 3 seconds to go. They're near the St. Louis goal. Zoran Karic at the controls. He plays it, leaves it for Marinaro. It's blocked, and we're going to overtime.
And what a block by Chris Kenny.
Well-designed play.
Season alive.
Well-designed play. Sean Medved made a dummy run over the ball to take away a defender. And a big block for St. Louis. By the way, in that 4th quarter, Hector Marinaro has outshot the St. Louis ambush 7-3. All right, we got another break. When we come back, we'll be playing sudden death overtime. It's game 4, tie score. There's Crunch owner George Hoffman. It's simple as this. Next goal wins. Doesn't matter how many points it's worth. It doesn't matter when it comes. Whoever scores a goal wins. There's the St. Louis bench and Daryl Durant. Here's a set piece.
And watch the man in the middle of the penalty box, Chris Kenny, come out to block the shot. He bites on that first fake, but then a great recovery to get up off the turf and watch him make himself big. And a big block by Kenny.
That's just a great play by Chris Kenny.
Yeah, especially since he bought that first fake and then to recover.
All right. Sudden death. The last time an NPSL Championship Series went sudden death was 3 years ago, I believe, 1994 years ago.
And a lot of times these don't last long.
When Chicago beat Dayton. The Crunch moving left to right. The Power won that title in overtime.
And everybody in this building on their feet for this overtime.
They play ahead to Eck. A defensive lineup out there for Cleveland as they chase the ball. Some speed, a lot of runners.
A little bit surprising considering Cleveland was on a 5-0 run. You think they might want to go after it right now.
Well, let's see what happens when they gain possession of the ball. They don't right now. Klein coming ahead. Look out, Duran in the corner. He's being pulled off by Medved in front goal. Two big saves by Otto Orff.
Oh, what a save by Otto Orff. I don't know if he saw that initial deflection.
But he was in position. Now the Crunch get their dynamic duo out. Here's Carbonera. Oh, it hit the heel of Tanner. And Doyle tries to get past Carbonera. Banged it off the boards to Eck. Great lead. Here comes Doyle with a burst at the yellow line. Carriage defending the loose ball. Big play by Carbonera to prevent Eck from getting a shot.
That's right, because Otto had slid out to stop the initial shot, and he was out of position.
Kuntz got his own rebound. And then Tanner whacked it away. It's going to be over and back. They play on. Good no call by the official. And Otto Orff with maybe some cramping or he got hit in the foot. But he plays to Fernandez. We're in sudden death overtime. The next goal wins. Smart play by the St. Louis defense. Here comes Tim Tima for Cleveland. George Fernandez in the midfield. This game has had it all. Physical play, blocks, goals, end-to-end. Play in the midfield, Ted Eck. Fernandez tries to get it ahead, knocked it out of play.
Look at George Hoffman pacing around back behind the goal.
I gotta wonder what it feels like to be the owner of the team in this situation. In overtime this year, the Crunch has played only one overtime game and lost. St. Louis has gone to OT 4 times and were successful 3.
A little miscommunication on that restart by St. Louis.
Orff plays to Fernandez. Up ahead, Marinero along the near boards. Pushed away by Hundo. Tried to get it back. A foul called against the ambush, and the Crunch will get a set piece along the near boards.
Well, I can see fouling Marinero or Carriage out there, but I don't think you'd want to foul Medved to give Cleveland a restart at this part of the field.
Carriage will restart. He tried to shoot. It got blocked by Klein.
And he's going to get another restart, but this time about 15 feet closer than the initial one.
Crunch yelling to get Tim Timo off. He goes off and Fernandez comes on. He's a left footer. Carriage to Marinero. It's blocked by Cowie. They chase down the rebound. Well, Bill Cowie has come back into the spotlight again. What a ball. Here comes Moser. Orff smelt it. He's hurt. Otto Orff is hurt. And then a foul called against Mark Moser. I think it's his left leg. He is in pain. Game 4 of the NPSL Championship Series. Otto limps his way. Boy, this is a tough situation for Gary Henley. Do you keep an injured goalkeeper in, or do you put a guy in who hasn't seen action into the heat of the battle?
Well, if they call timeout, they have to take him out of the game because of the earlier injury.
Otto got there and gets steamrolled by a pair of players, Tim Tima included.
Well, if he wasn't injured initially, he's injured now.
My 4th grade essay, I want to be a goalkeeper. Oh, man. Come on, guys, I'm hurt already. What are you doing to me? We are about 3 minutes into overtime. Tied at 15. If the Crunch scores, they win it all. If the ambush scores, they force a deciding Game 5. Fernandez wins the ball to Tima. One touch. Carriage holds off Reeves. Spins toward goal. Shields him off. Take it down. Play on.
Oh, now they're going to give the foul.
I didn't hear the whistle.
And this is dangerous.
There you see Otto working on his left leg. It could be a cramp, Art. A lot of times when you're holding your foot in like that, you're stretching out a muscle. This is dangerous for the Crunch. A three-man wall for St. Louis.
They like to touch these to Dougie Miller for that left-footed shot.
They get it into Medved. His shot blocked by a sea of teal. Carriage bumped off the ball by Doyle. He's got Kuntz loping on the left side. Schmetzer stepped in, couldn't get it fully away. Got help from Medved. There's the Seattle connection there. Medved and Schmetzer. Kenny won a ball along the near boards away from Carriage, and Z has a few words for Terry Campbell. Into Doyle. One-timer rack gets blocked by Schmetzer. Tedek tries to get back on. Strong on the ball is Tedek. He's being muscled away by Andy Schmetzer. Still on the ball. Sees an opening. Splits two. No call. No call.
And what a strong run by Tedek there to hold off 4 or 5 Cleveland players.
There's a scramble. St. Louis wins it. Otto off his line. He is struggling. Durand got it toward goal, but Otto had plenty of time to get it back. Sudden death overtime. Uh-oh. 2-on-1. 3-on-1 if they hurry. Klein. Ryerson took him down from behind, and the foul is called.
Well, they're not going to get the 2 minutes, but Klein needs to get up off the turf and get set up for this restart, because it's going to be a big opportunity nonetheless here for the ambush.
Watch it. Ryerson got back into the play. He saw a bit of the ball and went for it, but he missed.
And we've seen Cleveland have a couple of these in the overtime. Let's see what David Doyle and St. Louis can do on theirs.
The next time a red light goes on, the game is over. Watch far side for the left-footed Reininger. Doyle is on the ball. The Crunch have a two-man wall. He tried to curl it around, got blocked. Broken up by Mark Thomas. A race along the near boards. Thomas got it across. Miller after it. Big play by Kevin Hundo. That's great stuff by the ambush captain. Nobody has sat down in this place in the last 20 minutes.
What a show these two teams have put on here this evening.
Kuntz. Ryerson stepped in. St. Louis wins it back. 8 lead changes in this game. The Crunches had the latest run of 5-0 after St. Louis went on a 7-1 run. Durant in the midfield. Penny. Slid it far corner. Moser holds off Carbonera. His shot blocked by Carbonera. Miller won it. Plays for Thomas. He walked around a Mark. Has an opening. Here comes Mark Thomas. He missed. On the short side. The rebound, Schmetzer in front of goal. Cowie slapped it aside. The Crunch coming again. Broken up by Cork. He has to fight off Schmetzer. Got it ahead. Moser ran into Medved. Crunch went it into midfield. And Schmetzer turns it upfield. Medved with a bit of space. Crunch going 3-on-4. Across. It's blocked up along the near side Durant.
Oh, unlucky for Darryl. That ball didn't go into the seats. Cleveland would have had another restart down deep.
Fernandez and Tima defensively for the Crunch. Kenny and Durand. Durand looks like he's limping a bit. Screaming. He's got a coach and play at the same time. Absolutely unbelievable. Carriage. Hold it off Kenny. Tried to get it to a racing Marinero. St. Louis broke it up, and it looks like Zorn got hit in the midsection. Now he got it Durand. He has space to move ahead. 4-on-3 for St. Louis. Durand at the arc. A shot blocked. The rebound to Eck in the near corner. St. Louis didn't get the good bounce that time.
Yeah, Darryl would have liked to have that shot back. He didn't get a good wood on that shot.
Remember, Otto Orff is injured. and anything to his sides are going to be tough for him to get to.
And Darrell was in perfect position right in the middle of the field. Ball handcuffed him a little bit, and he couldn't hit the target.
With the defense backing up, there's George Hoffman. Oh, we have played 7+ minutes of overtime. There's a big steal. Otto out of his goal. He got a piece of it. The rebound, Doyle. Another stop by Orff. Dev Reeves almost caught Otto Orff napping. Great vision by Dev Reeves. Here come the ambush again. Doyle at the yellow line. Played it out the boards. Klein, a whistle and a foul called against John Klein. Watch it again. Art, take it away.
Oh, what's there to say about the goalkeeping of Otto Orff? Outstanding. There's the first one. Reeves catches him outside the goal. And Otto leaping high with that injured right foot. And then Doyle on the rebound. Big save.
Believe it or not, this is now the longest stretch without a score in this series. But once again, it hasn't lacked of opportunity.
And give credit to those goalkeepers. We would have been out of here a long time ago had it not been for Bill Cowie and Otto Orff.
14+ minutes of scoreless soccer. The last goal was scored by Hector Marinero at 8:55 of the fourth quarter.
And that's the one reason Otto shouldn't be taking that ball out of the back. He's hurt. They try to let him play the long ball, and there you see the result. Into the crowd.
I wish I had a better handle on his injury, if it's a cramp or a bruise or a sprain, but he is definitely dragging the left
The way
leg.
he's stretching it, it seems to be a bruised calf.
The restart for St. Louis. There you see it. Otto taking a look at the action. Hundeld on the ball, slides it across. Reiniger walked around the mark. Oh, he hit the crossbar. Unlucky for Reiniger. St. Louis carries on. Reiniger on the ball again. He hit a dipping shot after he walked around a mark. The fortunes of the crunch smiling on that crossbar hit. Here's Eck against Tima. Moving off to the right side. Tima stepped in, got help from Fernandez, won it to Thomas. Thomas plays ahead, a race. Marinero and Hundeld. Hector left side off the boards. He bites the turf and play carries on, and a push by Mark Thomas. Once again, a good no call, I think, by the officials on the race.
Wow, great wheels by Hector. Down that left side.
I don't know if I've ever seen a better indoor soccer game. Here is Doyle moving in, slide tackle by Fernandez, got a piece of it. Doyle still got the shot, 2 blocks, one by Orff, the other by, I think, Fernandez. St. Louis back on the ball. 6:23 to go in the OT, a foul called against St. Louis, and Tima gets it right back to Otto. Otto Orff is getting some help from his owner, George Hoffman, back there. Here is Karats in the attack zone. Shot it just wide. A sneaky little shot. Back deep in the St. Louis third. Eck holds off Carbonera nicely. And the ambush break right to left. Kuntz with a step on Carbonera. I tell you what, Otto hasn't stopped coming off the goal. Whatever injury he has hasn't stopped his aggressiveness. Here's Ryerson. First year in the league. Got it back to Orff.
There you see the shots on goal, 11-2 for St. Louis in this overtime as their backs are against the wall here.
They play ahead to Miller. Miller tries to spin around Kenny. Excellent defensive positioning by Chris Kent.
You know, and regardless of the outcome, both teams have left their heart and soul on the field here this afternoon.
I think that might be an understatement. And I think the crowd's done the same too. Schmetzer tries to get one under control, has to loop it high. It goes out of play, and it'll go deep in the Cleveland third. We've got 5 minutes left in the first overtime. Should this game make it through the next 5 minutes, 3 seconds without a goal, it'll be the first time ever in the NPSL playoffs that they've gone to a double overtime.
That's a shot St. Louis wanted. Doyle curling that right foot.
Crunch in the midfield. Thomas holding off a mark, banged it out the boards. Look out, Ryerson! He missed wide. Hundell came screaming out to make it tough on Ryerson. St. Louis with Kevin Hundell. He's played the last 4 quarters. Moser turnaround shot. He just missed wide. Great turn by Mark Moser with the left foot. Ryerson giving it all to get it away from Doyle. They play to Marinero. Hector dancing along the boards. He is fouled by Doyle. And the Crunch will have a free kick. Raposha coming out for St. Louis. There's a look at Otto Orff. Tima, the volley, got it toward goal on the foot of Carriage. Back to Tima. Oh, it's a big stop by Cowie. Bill Cowie again.
I don't think I've ever seen Tima shoot a ball so hard.
Here's Fernandez. Kenny stepped in, knocked it away. Scramble for the ball. Fernandez, nice move. Here he comes to the yellow line. Got it to Carriage with space. Off the backboards. He didn't get it hard enough. Off the glass, and Cowie snagged it. Here's Doyle. Kuntz. Shot blocked by Miller. Got his own rebound toward goal. It got deflected near side. The race is Eck and Tima. We've got 3:24 to go in sudden death. Tima with enough energy to step it out. Good move. Miller 3-on-1 for the Crunch. Doug Miller, right side Medved has to chase it down. He's run into the corner by Eck. Good recovery by St. Louis. That was a dangerous situation.
Cleveland with a 3-on-1, but Miller's pass to Medved just a little bit too far out in front of Sean.
George Fernandez helped out Otto Orff there. We've got under 3 minutes to play, as you see, in the OT. Could be less. And to Mark Thomas. Kenny once again. Boy, Chris Kenny has done a great job of stepping in and deny it. Ball gets knocked out of play by Tim Tima, and the restart will come about 15 yards past the Crunch.
Well, I said at the start of overtime, these usually don't last long. Enough for that. We've never seen a game in NPSL playoff series go to double overtime, and we're 2:32 away from that.
They play into Tedek, the ambush do. He holds up the mark, and St. Louis will possess. George Fernandez read that play, sprinted to the ball, and won it. Here's the Crunch captain. Into Marinero, posting at the D. He's got a bouncing ball. Hundell pushed him aside. That call won't be made at this stage of the game. In the corner, another battle between Eck and Tima. Those two guys have tangled a long time. Slide tackle by Ryerson, and it's been tough going for forwards. Marinero tries to one-time it for Thomas. He shields off Hundell. Here's the battle outside the penalty area. Can't get it across to a teammate, and Duran comes racing out. It could be a 4v3. Duran with help from Gork at the yellow line to his left. He shot it wide. The rebound, Doyle missed it. After the rebound, the ball free. Here comes Doyle at the yellow line. Big tackle by Doug Miller. Oh, what a play by Doug Miller. And how many times you see David Doyle swing and miss? Gary Hinman's just smiling. It's just great stuff. 1:28 to play in the first OT. The last goal was scored at 8:55 of the fourth quarter by Hector Marinero.
And Otto, obviously tired. He usually slings that ball down the field. That looked more like a Jeff Robin throw.
I'm telling you what, the people in this place have not sat down since about 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They paid for their seats. They're not using them. But they're part of the championship series. Carriage ran into Doyle, lost it. Under a minute. Klein. Moser now Carbonero marking. Back to Klein. Into Moser. He's a left footer. Holds off 2. He's strong on the ball, too. And Sean Medved won it away. Ran into Duran. The ball goes the Crunch's way. Good V move from Karich. Moser goes down. You talked earlier, Art, about Zorn holding his pepper.
That's what George Hoffman thinks of the call.
Fucking handball.
There are guys who have gone at it for over an hour. Talk about tired. Art said it earlier. They've left everything out on the floor, and there's still no decision. This isn't easy, folks. It's not easy when you're fresh at the beginning of the season. Squirts free to Orr. A look at the clock. Otto goes long. That's going to be, that could have been trouble. Big play by Mark Thomas to slow it up, but St. Louis comes ahead with Eck. 4 on 3. And there's the horn. We are through 1 overtime, and we are still undecided. 15-15, the Crunch and the St. Louis Ambush in Game 4 of the NPSL Championship Series. We'll be back with the second overtime. With 9 points tonight, heading to the second overtime. It could be him to win it. It might not be. Could be somebody on the St. Louis end. Gary Henley coaching and taking a look at who has won the NPSL championship in the past.
Now you see the Invaders with 4 out of the first 5 years. Louisville sneaking in there in year 3. And then in the last 3 seasons, 3 different champions: Chicago, Detroit, and Kansas City.
Art, I don't know about you. These guys have to be tired because I'm ready to go to sleep.
Yeah, there's nothing left to be said. These guys are doing all the talking down there on the field.
And I don't mean going to sleep because this is boring. I'm tired. There has never been an NPSL playoff game that has gone to double overtime. We could see a deciding game go to double overtime. We will find out. Remember, St. Louis is looking to push Game 5, which you'll see on ESPN May 5th at 1 o'clock Eastern time. That's May 10th, not May 5th. So May 10th, you'll see Game 5, should there be a Game 5, and that will come from St. Louis. Write it down. If the Ambush score the next goal, you'll see another one. All right, sudden death overtime.
And if St. Louis gets beat here, they're going to think about all those chances that they had in the first overtime.
They really had the better of play. The Crunch out there with Fernandez, Tima, Karich, Marinero, and Ryerson. Karich long ball. Cowie there. He's been the player of the game along with Chris Kenny. It's been really a collective effort for St. Louis. Daryl Duran, player coach to Klein. He has some speed along the near boards. Played in front of goal. Otto got a piece of it. Tima and Fernandez ran into one another, and Klein got an elbow in the face of Tim Tima. St. Louis carries on. There's a cut move. Durant shot blocked by Tima. Tima back on the loose ball, cleared it out high, and Marinero will get it off to Karich.
Boy, some defense by Tima in the overtimes.
You know, he caught a sharp elbow. It wasn't an intentional elbow by Klein, but
that's called a straight arm.
Otto has been struggling since the fourth quarter. There's Bill Cowie. You know, it was such a long time ago, we forget what a great first half he had in the saves he's made lately. Tim Tima, 10 years, all 10 years in this league. And he has said he's found the fountain of youth in this series. Karich fighting off a mark, taken down by Reeves. There is no whistle. Spencer stepped in, took it away. You know, we talk about physical exhaustion. How about the mental side of this game?
Well, when you're in a championship series like this, I don't think the mental part of it leaves you, but it could be a mental mistake that ends this one.
Look out, Reiniger behind the defense. Otto came flying out to make the stop, and his teammates able to possess in the midfield to give him time to get back. Here comes George Fernandez. The Crunch has numbers. Spencer on the board. Marinero scores! The Crunch has won it! a 17-15 win in Game 4 of the 1994 NPSL Championship, and the Crunch has beaten the St. Louis Ambush 3 games to 1, and this place is bananas. The game winner.
Watch again. Watch Hector spin off that defender right there and finds himself free in the box. And who better than Hector Marinero to give Cleveland its first championship?
Hector Marinero had 6 goals tonight, 28 points over the last 2 games. Hundelt had to commit to that ball. And when he did, Marinero was all by himself, and Cowie had no chance. Watch these guys. You think they're not happy? It's over. It's also over for the St. Louis Ambush. We'll take a break, and we'll be back to see the ceremony awarding the championship trophy to George Hoffman and the Cleveland Crunch. Crunch wins it 17-15 in double OT. Continues here at the Cleveland State Convocation Center as the Crunch has won the 94 NPSL Championship. There's the goal, Hector Marinero, fittingly ending it for the Crunch. We're going to go down to the floor for the celebration. Marinero had enough energy to make it down the field. That is the sweet feeling of success.
Give it back to me. I'll talk to George.
Where's the mic?
I'll give it to you.
Go down to Art Kramer.
Ladies and gentlemen, to present the trophy to George Hoffman, the commissioner of the NPSL, Mr. Steve Paxos.
Thank you. First, I would like to congratulate Dr. Wathman, the St. Louis Ambush, for a fine series. Go ahead, clap. And now, on behalf of the NPSL, it's with great pleasure, after 30 long years, to present to George Hoffman and the Cleveland Crunch the NPSL Championship Trophy. Congratulations.
Cleveland Crunch fans, 1 second. Cleveland, 1 second.
celebration after a break. The victory lap and a Crunch championship. 17-15 is the final in double overtime.
Used car buyers.
After the Crunch's NPSL championship victory, there's the celebration. Boys are going a little bit crazy. Gary Hintley's going to have to get his suit dry cleaned, but I'm sure he doesn't care. Now let's go down to the floor. Here is the hero, Art Kramer and Hector Marinero.
All right, we're here with Hector Marinero, this year's MVP in the championship series. Hector, it took you 2 overtimes. What a goal. Tell us about it.
I thought that second over, I couldn't even see straight no more. I was so tired. Just saw Andy make a run. Andy and George down the boards. I knew Andy was going to hit it off the board. Just tried to get in front of the net. Came right to me. And I hit it a little bit high, but it still went in.
It looked like you spun off the defender to get open in front. And then when the ball came off your foot, it looked like it was going straight upwards.
Yeah, well, top netting, you know. Just where you want to put them all the time.
All right, Hector. You earned it. You deserve it. Enjoy it over the summer. Hector Marinero.
Thank you very much, Eddie.
All right, back up to you, Ed.
There you see a very happy Hector Marinero. The NPSL championship won by the Cleveland Crunch, 3-1 over the St. Louis Ambush. There you see the final score in double overtime. We want to thank everybody at ESPN and ESPN2. It's been a great run of balls of fire. Join us next season for more of the same. Good night, everybody.
On Channel 3 News, new information that led to the charging of Eric Alleman with his wife's murder.
The 37th president is laid to rest. We'll have a wrap-up of the Nixon funeral.
And Channel 3 gets some action after a child falls into an open sewer.
And the Crunch goes into double overtime before bringing Cleveland its first championship in 30 years. It is all next on Channel 3 News at 11. Stay with us. Britain Mayor says the city is aggressively seeking smaller businesses to shore up the tax base.
Well, it has been 30 years in the waiting. Cleveland has not seen a professional sports championship since 1964 when the Browns won the NFL championship.
But tonight, the Crunch took on the St. Louis Ambush at the Convocation Center for the NPSL championship. And Channel 3 sports reporter Chuck Galletti is at the Convocation Center with what can only be described as a historic win, Chuck.
I'll tell you, it really is a historic win. This is what happens when you wait 30 years to win a championship. People are beating their hands. The traffic's going crazy. They're celebrating here tonight. Okay, maybe the Crunch won't get to meet the president for their win, but the people in Cleveland are celebrating, like I said, just the same. Let's go to some highlights from tonight's game. The Crunch will be down to the St. Louis Ambush, 15-11 in the fourth period. Hector Marinero would come on, help them tie the game, and then in double overtime, who else? Hector Marinero with the goal, and the Crunch, the champions of the NPSL, winning 17-15.
I just can't believe it. I'm so glad it's over. We won it for these people here. Oh man, I'm so glad. Oh, I just can't put any words together. People just don't know what this means to us. And these people have made us win tonight.
All right, we'll be back later in sports. We'll hear more from the world champion Cleveland Crunch. Now back to you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Chuck. Good luck. Take care of yourself. Don't get hurt out there.
Not too excited down there.
Well, it was a great day for all.
Subway. The stars will be stored away until officials decide where they're going to relocate them.
Next in news for women, some tips on a self-exam that could save your life.
And Crunch fans are all over Chuck Galletti tonight, as you saw earlier. Highlights from their playoff game with the Ambush. That's coming up in just a second.
And it was a night for overtimes and extra innings.
Watching the team go extra innings with the White Sox tonight.
And Crunch fans will also be tired after watching a double overtime game. The exciting highlights coming up.
It takes so little to save our waters for future.
For tonight, now here's Jim Donovan with sports.
Congratulations to the Cleveland Crunch. They did it in double overtime, a true marathon thriller. The Crunch claims Cleveland's first professional championships since 1964 as they win the NPSL title. A game that didn't go their way for most of the second half. Champions of the American Division playoffs and hoping for more on this evening, but St. Louis wanted to take this series back to St. Louis for a fifth and deciding goal, so they hung in there against the Crunch. Hector Marinaro was all over the field all night long, always out in front. Right foot's one in there. Crunch led by 1. But Cleveland right here, Tommy Tanner goes down and is down on the field. The Crunch then gives up a goal to Ted Eck, and they're furious, and they appear to lose their concentration as St. Louis comes back and scores, and they led 12-9. Marinaro brought them back and tied at 15-15. Into the second overtime. Fernandez and Schmetzer down the floor. Schmetzer out in front. Marinaro with the winning goal and the celebration as the Crunch wins it in double overtime. Final score 17-15 over at the Convocation Center. So that's the story there. Let's go back over to a happy sight. Chuck Galletti, who was mobbed just a few moments ago. What did you do? Scare the crowd away?
You know what, Jim? Well, the lights are about to go down at Jacobs Field. I'll tell you this, here at the Convocation Center, they've been off for a while. I think a lot of those kids have to get up for school tomorrow morning. They can only celebrate for so long. Let's show you some of the celebration, though, after the game. Unbelievable finish. 11,000 people on hand tonight at the Convocation Center, and for a while there it looked like they were not going to come back. It was 15-11 in the fourth period. Hector Marinaro brought them back, and who else but Hector Marinaro with the winning goal for George Hoffman, who kept professional soccer in Cleveland. He told me after the game he is just very satisfied and thrilled. It's something he's dreamt for a long time. Now we'll go back to you, Jim, and hopefully you could tell us some good news about another extra inning affair.
Absolutely, I can, Chuck. Let's go over to the Indians right now. The White Sox opened up this big series over at Jacobs Field. Days tomorrow? Yes.
No, World Series tickets.
World Series tickets. There you go.
Good.
Thanks, Jimmy. And that's the news for now. Thanks for watching. I'm Lisa Calagrassi.
And I'm Judd Hambrick. Be sure to tune into the Channel 3 Morning Show at 5:30 a.m. with Art Edwards, Jolene Costanzo, and meteorologist John Loftman for all the latest. Have a good night tonight. A nice day tomorrow.
You're watching NBC Nightside. Polls are open.
Hector Marinaro, there he goes, scored the winning two-pointer in the second OT, and all Cleveland sports fans can be proud. The Crunch has been in the playoffs 4 times before. In this case, the 4th time was a charm, and there he goes. Boy, he's worked so hard for this. The whole team really has.
Nice. So nice. Way to go, Crunch.
Well, after 3 days of 70s and 80s, it kind of feels chilly.
Stadium as well. Jim Donovan has the highlights in his sports wrap.
Hi, everybody. All hail the Cleveland Crunch. They did it in dramatic fashion last night. Boy, I'll say it was dramatic. A double overtime, 4th game victory over the St. Louis Ambush, and they are the NPSL champions. And so let's go to the Convocation Center. The Crunch wearing the T-shirts of American Division playoff champions, but they wanted the whole ball of wax, and St. Louis would not make it easy. They were trying to force a 5th and deciding game this weekend in St. Louis. But the Crunch in the second half, when they seemed to stumble, Marinaro was always there. Hector, that is. He gives them a 1-goal lead. The Crunch got furious here when their player was taken down. St. Louis came back. Ted Eck heeled one into the goal, and the Crunch blew their stacks, and it seemed to really hurt their concentration. St. Louis scored again, 12-9. And the Crunch came back, tied at 15-15, second overtime. Fernandez and Schmetzer down the left side. Schmetzer out in front. There's Hector Marinaro again for the winning goal. The goal that gives Cleveland their first professional sports championship since 1964. 17-15 Crunch in double overtime. What a night over at the Convocation Center. And just moments after championship victory last night.
Isn't that great to have a championship here in Cleveland?
Yes, it is.
It's very nice. Thank you, Jimmy.
And the comebacks on Carnegie. First to Jacobs Field, where it is too bad so many folks to tie it. Then in double overtime, the Crunch wins the city's first pro sports title in 3 decades. And this is what it looks like.
Oh, man, I'm so glad. I just can't put any words together. People just don't know what this means to us. And these people have made us win tonight.
I dream about this moment for 5 years in Cleveland, and finally we did it. And thanks to everybody. It just feels great.
Yeah, I think we all feel a little great after that.
Isn't that super?
Yeah.
Thanks, Bob.
Sure.
There's more News Channel 5
spot on the roster for Robert Parrish. It's blowing a little bit here. The champagne flowed on Prospect last night at the Convocation Center. Was the site of our city's first title in 30 seasons. Hector Marinero scored 2 fourth-quarter goals to send it into overtime. And after battling through 1 scoreless overtime, Hector lit the lamp and the fuse that sent 11,000 into a frenzy. 17-15 was the final. The Crunch takes the series 3-1. And it couldn't have happened to a better bunch of guys, and Hector in particular. So, Hector Marinero, you just scored the game-winning goal in overtime. What are you doing today?
Well, I'm just going to go out here and have some fun because, you know, it's really nice to go out and play now that, you know, you've realized you've achieved all the goals that you really wanted, you know. And to bring the city a championship is the only goal we had this year. And we're just so happy for everybody. You know, the organization's been great to us, and the city deserves a winner, and we're just glad we could do it for them.
City Council will honor the team Monday, and the mayor's office is looking into a parade to honor the team, but as of right now, plans are not definite. Well, they were celebrating up the street at the Combos.
Big one. Can you believe it?
Wow.
That was it. Oh, you can't see it enough. The final goal scored in the championship game to give the Crunch the big one. We'll say it. The big giant trophy. What was that like? Well, we have 3 major individuals from the team to explain that for us. Hector Marinero, Zoran Kadic, and Coach. Boy, when you look at that tape, what do you think?
Well, actually, that's only the second time I've seen it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, last night was the first time. During the game, it got so hectic on the bench in overtime, and so many people were going down with fatigue and injuries that I had to try and pretty much take care of making sure that people were on the field. Last night was the first time that I ever saw Hector's game-winning goal and
really?
sprinting around the field. I didn't know he could run that fast until I saw the celebration.
Yeah.
That was astonishing, Hector. I mean, here the game is in overtime, and here you do this, and you're running like you're a sprinter.
Well, it was just incredible. I was playing the game. I felt so tired, and my legs felt rubbery. I was just trying to find something extra, but once I scored that goal, I just felt great again.
Like somebody flipped the switch.
Yeah.
You didn't even notice your black eye, right?
No, all gone, just about all gone.
Did you get that in the game?
Yeah, Saturday night, and game 2 in St. Louis, and it's almost gone now.
Was there a point where you just said, I wish that we were in the final game so I can score that goal and win it all?
It's, you know, as a player, that's what you dream of. And for it to actually happen is just incredible, and I've just been enjoying it. It's, like I said, it's something you dream about, and I'm just glad we could do it for the city of Cleveland and bring that championship home.
Zoran, what were your thoughts as you went into that long overtime?
It's probably the greatest thing happened in my long career. When I was waiting 5 years for this moment in Cleveland, and finally we did it. It's just incredible.
Well, now, having done this, do you think that it's likely to give a boost to the whole program, and maybe next year there'll be even more people come? What do you think?
Hopefully.
That's the hope? It's grown, hasn't it? Quite a bit.
It really has. I think the people of Cleveland have really caught on with the Crunch, and, you know, we've got a hardcore group of fans that come to every game, and I just think if people came down and watched a few games, they'd really get hooked on it because it's a lot of fun for the whole family.
You know, the young kids are really into it, aren't they? Almost every school has a soccer program, and when you all walked in, those kids over there from Akron, they all started to applaud. Why don't you give them another big hand right now? Everybody over there a soccer fan? You all like the game? See, that's why you're going to grow, because you've got that going on right now. Now, geezers like me, you know, we don't know what you're doing out there. No, I'm just kidding. But there are a lot of people in the society who think of it as a European sport primarily, don't they?
Yeah, pretty much. But I think as the kids grow up, the kids that grew up with the sport, as they grow up and get older and get married and have kids, you know, they'll be bringing their kids to the games. And it's going to take time, but it's something that's fun for the whole family, you know, not just for the kids, the parents to have a good time too.
You guys have been to the championship something like 4 times. I mean, does that amaze you? And finally, it's like everybody talks about the Buffalo Bills having made it to the Super Bowl 3 times. They keep blowing it over and over again. You finally did it. When you finally won it, was there something you had done differently in this championship than in any of the others that made it the winning one?
I don't think so. I think, you know, as a player, you go out every year, you're in the championship. You know, you're trying to do everything that you can to win it. And, you know, every year we've gone out and tried to do it, but we've come out a little bit short. And, you know, this year we were just fortunate to put together 3 crucial games in a row right in the final. And we came out on top. You know, where last year we couldn't put that last game together. And it just didn't happen for us, but this was our year.
Thanks. Great. Coach Hendley, congratulations. Next year, who will we see? These guys be back, you think?
Well, I'm sure the core of the team will be back every year. That if you're going to stay on top and be successful, you know, there's going to be a little tinkering with the lineup, and a couple of guys retire, a couple of guys move on, you know. But I would think to always be successful, you got to go from championship to the next goal is that you start a dynasty, and we've been in the finals 2 years in a row, as Hector had said, and I don't think people give credit enough to people or teams that can always get to the final game each year. So I think you'll see the basic core there, and the fans, as Hector said, were great. They stayed there and made us come back for a curtain call. So I didn't think they were ever going to leave. They still might be over at Convocation Center now. I don't know. We'll drive by.
The diehard Crunch fans.
Thrilling moment. Thanks to all of you.
Thank you so much.
And hope that some of your good fortune will rub off on the Cavs who are going off to Chicago. So hang in there, guys. Thanks so much. Congratulations again, and it's a thrill. I was there at the stadium 30 years ago when the Browns won the last championship that any Cleveland team has had, so congratulations. We're real proud.
Thank you.
We'll be back in a minute. We'll celebrate our water. You know, you turn on the tap and out it comes.